Join me for episode 15 of my Hiking the Continental Divide Trail series, where we hike from Silverthorne to Granby Lake, Colorado, crossing the Indian Peaks Wilderness. We tackle the high ridges of Mount Flora and James Peak, which nearly killed me by the way, navigating rocky trails with stunning mountain views. Near Granby Lake, a striking bull moose crosses my path, adding a thrill to the journey. Join us for a rugged, high-altitude adventure through Colorado's wild terrain. After 2 zeros in the beautiful multi-towns of Dillon, Silverthorne and Frisco, it was time to get back out on the trail. At 9:30am we made our way down to the I-70 interstate. Now it was time to get out the hiker to trail bandana while Chip Crusher stuck out his thumb. We waited for about 25 minutes when all of a sudden a lady recognised Chip Crusher. She was a bit apprehensive about picking us up, but when she heard my Australian accent, that sealed the deal. It just so happens that this lady works in the Dillon post office and she served both Chip Crusher and me yesterday. We were mailing our forward resupply boxes to Granby Lake. She had been to Australia twice before, the last time back in the year 2000, just before the Olympics. She loves Australia and Australians, she said, and so was happy to pick us up when she heard my accent. Definitely a lady of good taste. The way forward, up that trail there, follow that ridge line. The wind is super strong and very blustery. This is to be expected considering we are so high up on an exposed ridge. Despite the wind, I'm having a great day and I'm enjoying immensely being back on trail. There are incredible views all around, but especially a mountain range out to the west and a blue valley to the north. Up over that one and heading over that side. The trail now descends and we encounter quite a few sketchy traverses. One in particular has a hard icy patch right in the middle. This causes some concern for Chip Crusher as he crosses over, but he negotiates it well and we make it to the other side. The trail now loops around to the south and we are almost heading back in the direction from which we have come. Just looking back at the trail, what's a bit of a pain. So I've come right across the top of that ridge line, all the way along across the top, down over there through that little gap, back up that hill and down that hill, and then we've done a U-turn and now we're heading back the way we came. We hit a junction where we are hoping to set up camp, but there are no spots available that are anywhere near on flat ground. So while the day has been long and I'm looking forward to dinner and my sleeping bag, we have to continue on another mile or so down. We reach the next stream where we load up with water for the night and thankfully find a great spot to set up camp. It's been a great day. I have a view out of my tent looking down a beautiful valley with snow-capped mountains in the background. It's time to make dinner and set up the tent and get rested so we can do it all again tomorrow. The morning has started. in its usual way, straight uphill. What a fun start to the day. It's a great morning's walking so far. First 2k's uphill were tough because it's pretty steep, but now we're just winding our way across the top of these mountains. Very little wind, which is nice. Undulating trail, just gently up and down. You can see the trail winds its way down, then we go back up over that way. There's a whole heap of marmots over there. You have to go kamikaze over the cliff. There goes one, there goes the other. About 5 or 6 of them. The CDT likes to make things difficult. Hard work going across these rocks. Very frustrating. A nice little bit of trail for a change. Thought I'll film it while I get the chance. I really should try and film the harder stuff, but it's too hard. You got to concentrate so much with where you put your feet, your poles, so you don't trip over. But geez, that rock field coming down that mountain, that was very difficult. The afternoon has us going up over James Peak at 13,309 feet. At the junction where this trail starts, I think I spend about 10 minutes contemplating the climb. I'm really out of energy and I'm not sure how I'm going to do it. Looking at the map, I try to see if there's any other way to avoid it. Plus, I'm not sure which way Chip Crusher has gone. Over and over, I battle in my mind how I'm going to do it, how I'm going to summon the strength to be able to climb this thing. But in the end, there is no other option. The only way is up. I start to make my way up, and I come around a bend and there's Chip Crusher standing in the middle of the trail. I wonder whether he's been having the same thoughts as me. The first section is the hardest and it's just so steep. I'm back to counting out steps just to keep moving, barely making 50 metres before having to stop again and gather my breath. So my previous picture of what I thought was James's Peak was that it way down there. We've come way up over the top of that. And James's Peak still way up there. But we're getting closer now. They say all good things come to an end, and thankfully so do the bad. And in this case the bad finally does and is replaced by magnificent views at the top of James Peak. I've finally made it. Chip Crusher is already there waiting for me and he's feasting on a packet of Doritos. Getting to the top is always just a matter of keeping on moving. Some days it's slower and harder than others, but eventually you get there. Now it's time to head down. The trail stays high on the ridge line, but we have to drop down off it to find water and a flat place to camp. While the ridgeline is snow-free, down along the side of the mountain, it's lots of trudging through snow. It's getting late in the day and there is not much around by way of flat ground. We get our water supplies for the night but have to continue heading down for a campsite. The day keeps getting longer but finally a small patch is found. Chip Crusher moves some snow to squeeze his tent in. My spot is still on a slope, but I'm not complaining. I'm overdue to get in my tent and lie down. I boil some water for the two of us and wait for dinner to rehydrate. There's a beautiful sunset to admire, which caps off another epic day. Halfway through, I wasn't sure how I was going to make it, but in the end, it's all turned out well. Well, for a nice change today, instead of walking uphill first thing, which we normally have to do, we actually get to walk downhill a little bit. Seeing as though we came down off the ridge last night to find water and a flat campsite, we are now heading along a road that travels below that ridge but parallel with it. Next up, we come to a junction where we get to take a road that has been cleared of snow. Happy days! We travel up this road a few miles before it intersects back with the CDT. Although it is uphill, with its even gradient, we are able to walk along at a good pace for a change. After yesterday's big day, I think my legs are the stiffest and sorest they have been so far in the morning. It always surprises me that once you get moving, they come good pretty quickly though. While the road is now turned uphill as we go up to meet the ridge that we came off. I have to say, this is my kind of walking. Nice, flat, even gradient, beautiful views, mountains out into the distance, and it's a beautiful morning. Chip Crusher painstakingly kicks steps into this ice wall, but it's a very tedious process and very sketchy. He does an amazing job considering we really should have ice axe and crampons, I think, because it's so steep. It's very windy as we cross the top of this mountain. As you look out in the distance there, that's the town of Fraser. And I can't remember what the other one's called. Winterland or something like that, I think. Big wide open mountaintop. After crossing a saddle with a high elevation of nearly 12,000 feet, I've now descended down to around 10,000. I'm bumping along that elevation now for quite some way, and I'm travelling through the most beautiful green forest. The undergrowth is beaming with its green foliage. The only shame is there are a number of pine trees suffering the effects of the pine beetle. After the last couple of weeks of torturous mountains, today's hike is a wonderful relief. This is the CDT for you. Back in the steeplechase. The elusive spoon. I just left it here after our lunch break. I've had to come back a kilometre. Could be worse. Looks like we've got some people up here trying to make my life easier. But it's a never-ending battle. That didn't go very far. They've just told me they've cleared the trail between here and Meadow Creek, wherever that is, I'm not sure. But that's where they started. So, apart from some snow, they said should be pretty good going forward. Ah, the serenity. With no major climbs for the afternoon, I'm able to enjoy strolling along. We are in no rush, for we can't make it all the way to Granby Lake in a day, and we can't camp in the Indian Peaks Wilderness area without a permit, which we don't have. So we get to have an early finish today and set up camp around 4 p.m. We've still managed to hike 20 miles for the day, and we only now have 20 miles to make it to Granby Lake tomorrow. With all the snowmelt water lying around, there are plenty of breeding places for mosquitoes. And tonight they are out in force, so it's time to set up the tent quick smart and retreat to the safety of its confines. I'm now lying here wondering, how will I go about cooking dinner without them eating me alive? Damn Aussies. It's a beautiful morning as I make my way into Granby Lake today. Got about 19 miles. Had a big descent, lots of switchbacks, heading down a mountainside. That's 2 days in a row. What's going on, Colorado? It's not like you. Start the day off going downhill instead of uphill. But making our way, I'm just walking high across, another trip, high across the side of a mountain. Not sure whether you can see, I'll spin around. Down through the trees there is Monarch Lake, one of the first of many lakes which we passed by today. So, should be a good day. I'm not sure whether it'll come up on the video or not, but can you see the millions of mosquitoes just buzzing around there? I'll zoom out to give you a look at the view. This is the first little glimpse of Monarch Lake peeking through the trees. I'm not sure if it'll come out on the video. There's heaps of fish there. Oh, there they are. Lots. This is what you call luxury hiking now. Mostly downhill, bumping along around 8,500 feet. Not even up very high. Road, gravel road. How good is it? Oh my God. They said there was moose around here. I didn't think I'd get this close to one. And a bull moose too. Look how beautiful you are. I'm having the best day. It is so beautiful. That's the lake in the background. Sun is shining, sky is blue. And I think I'm hiking with a sense of relief in that I think the worst of Colorado is behind me. I've looked at the profile map going forward and it only looks like we go back up to 12,000 feet between here and Wyoming, maybe 5 or 6 times. So I don't know, I didn't realise I was so exhausted, I think, from the last couple of weeks. And all those high peaks, they just take it out of you. Whereas today it's been walking along from lake to lake. The views just keep getting better and better. It's been reasonably hard work climbing up here. About 3 miles of climbing all up. But how nice is it? This is a wild bit of trail. You'd think around this lake it would get more traffic, but clearly not. Through the obstacle course, over the trees, under these ones, around that one. Check out all these blowdowns. These are all lying across the trail. Oh, what fun. Entering Rocky Mountain National Park. Not careful, might get a bit of John Denver coming up soon. Believe it or not, I actually recorded myself singing a little bit of Rocky Mountain High by John Denver. But unfortunately, or actually fortunately, it went missing when I lost my phone. So you were saved from that. This part of the trail, it seems, doesn't see much traffic, and soon I come out into another green meadow. This is even more overgrown than the previous section. Again, we head up and away from the lake, and all of a sudden the trail totally disappears. I think it's under what is now a flooded swamp. I take a turn to the right to avoid walking through the muddy water. The problem is, this leads me away from the trail, and now the swamp has turned into a little lake. And of course, I'm on the wrong side of it. Not sure where the trail went, but it disappeared in that boggy mess over there. But it is over that way somewhere. And this looks like my only option to get over there. Here's hoping I don't fall in. Oh, I made it. That was lucky. It didn't help that that log was rocking and rolling as you were going across. The little branches I was trying to hang on to were snapping off in my hands. But made it, feet are dry. This is the view looking down onto Granby Lake, and as we swing around over the town, that is Granby Lake, which is the big lake we walked around from way down there in the distance yesterday. Entering Granby Lake, it is immediately apparent that this is a beautiful town filled with log cabins and larger log homes. It occurs to me that this is the first totally snow-free day I've had in I don't know how long. I told you I was having a great day. Here in Granby Lake, we are so lucky to be hosted by Karen Hester. Karen is a trail angel in the town and has opened her home to us to stay. We are camped out in her backyard and are being treated with amazing generosity and hospitality. Thank you so much, Karen.